That's right. It's rainy day, dream away, baby. It's raining outside today, so I'm gonna do a little rainy day news here and let the sun take a holiday. That's right, rainy day, dream away. Anyway, I got a couple of stories here that have to do with the state of affairs in the United States and where we're at right now as a society and how this thing affects everyone, not just people that live in the inner city. It affects everyone. So, this right here is just a microcosm of what's going on all the way across the nation. All the way across the nation. So here we have a story. First story starts off in Las Vegas, Nevada. It says, no jail for a cop who forced mentally ill man to show his genitals and to film it and call people an N-word. So here we go, Las Vegas, Nevada. A Las Vegas police officer took videos with her cell phone as she forced a mentally ill man to dance for her, taunting a man as a fellow cop force-fed him gummy bears, recorded herself demanding to see a handcuffed man's genitalia, and used every racial slur under the sun. Her conduct was so egregious that the officer, Rachel Sarkar, was arrested last year on multiple charges. However, because there are two sets, maybe 3 sets or 4 sets of justice systems in this country, one for those connected to the system and one for everyone else, and one for rich people and one for poor people, Sarkar escaped with 0 jail time and less than a slap on the wrist. October 2019, Sarkar took a plea deal, and despite facing multiple counts of felony misconduct along with capturing the image of the private area of another person and indecent exposure, she pleaded guilty to a single count of misconduct of a police officer. When she was sentenced last week, Judicial Officer Mary Kay Holthus ordered Sarkar to 18 months informal probation, meaning that Sarkar won't have to regularly check in with a probation officer. She was then ordered to voluntarily resign from the department. Whether or not she maintains her law enforcement license is unclear. This deranged and cruel officer would eventually get exposed for her sick actions after she proudly shared the footage with friends, fellow cops, and family. The officer Sarkar humiliating innocent mentally ill people while hurling racial slurs was entertainment fit for the whole family. The video surfaced as investigators were probing allegations that Sarkar was providing private information to associates from official police systems, police said. Text conversations and records show that Sarkar reached and searched for information on behalf of her associates that included background information on dating prospects, addresses, and non-redacted report on a child abuse investigation that named the children. Sarkar, 29, was arrested on 5 felony counts of misconduct by a public officer and 1 gross misdemeanor, each of capturing the image of the private area of another person in indecent exposure, Metro said. She was relieved with pay in December and dismissed this week. So not only was Sarkar involved in the sick racist power trip, but this public servant was also pimping out her department's background check capabilities and doing favors for criminals by looking up their status in the system. So this is something that goes on. Like I said, this is just not happening in Las Vegas. This is happening all across the country. This is just one that got caught and basically got herself caught up in the middle of some nonsense by sharing her little perverted escapade with other people that eventually somebody turned her in. Okay, here we go with the second story. Here's sweep of arrests hits U.S. neo-Nazi group connected to 5 murders. Sweep of arrest of a neo-Nazi group in the United States has dealt a major blow to an organization associated with at least 5 murders and raised questions as to whether the extreme far-right movement the group is at the center of has largely undone by pressure from law enforcement and anti-fascist activists. 5 senior members of Atomwaffen Division, AWD, have been charged with federal crimes in the past weeks, including former leaders and a man who is concurrently a member of the similar neo-Nazi terrorist group called, listen at this name, folks, because this is something that you need to pay close attention to. The name of this group, this other group, is called The Base. Listen at the name again. It's called The Base. And if you understand and just listen at the word The Base, and that's what the DC dunce Trump is always talking about, how he's his base. This is the base that he's talking about. This is the base, exactly the base that he's talking about. So I'm gonna read that quote again, including former leaders and a man who is concurrently a member of the similar neo-Nazi terror group called The Base. The recent charges involve members in 4 states in connection with 2 separate criminal cases. In Virginia, a Texas man, John Denton, 26, was charged over allegedly swatting conspiracy practice involved in making false reports about a target's address in the hope police will stage an armed raid on the address. So Denton was reportedly involved in nearly every aspect of the organization as its leader. It's also known inside Atomwaffen by the alias Rape. Wow, that's his alias. That's the name that he goes by. He allegedly coordinated swatting attacks in 2018 and 2019 on journalists, Old Dominion University, and a historical black church. 4 more members were charged with conspiracy to threaten journalists and people associated with the Anti-Defamation League in Washington State. One of those arrested was Taylor DePepe, 20, who was a former Florida chapter co-leader under the alias Azazel. Recent social media materials given to The Guardian by Australian anti-fascist group the White Rose Society show a muscular bearded young man with the fresh neo-Nazi tattoos. And then he had another one named Caleb Cole, called Camary, who was in Washington chapter leader, and Cameron Shea, known as Crocodile. All have long histories of neo-Nazi movement. Caleb Cole is described in court documents as a former co-leader of the group. He had guns seized last October in Washington's so-called red flag laws, and he and another Washington Atomwaffen member and close associates were apprehended in November by Texas police, who found several firearms, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and marijuana in their vehicle. So these guys were arrested, and they were taken down, and so it's like, okay, these groups exist. Said the better part of Atomwaffen's leadership structure is now awaiting trial. 8 members of the base have been arrested and the identity of the leader exposed. Smaller groups like Fuhrer Craig Division have now publicly called a halt to create recruiting. So cops doing their job for a change. Got the neo-Nazis on the run, and hey, that's a good thing. Get them out the way. That's a homegrown terrorist. Okay. This is Chicago, Illinois. They had a sergeant ordered Chicago police officers to kill their body cameras during the wrong raid. Chicago police busting down doors, pointing guns at children and parents, all while raiding the wrong homes. We have identified 51 wrong raids in the past few years, and now the investigators uncover even more disturbing findings. A team of officers go in with cameras rolling, but soon after They are all ordered to kill their cameras. Tony Tate had just changed into her nightgown when police suddenly swarmed her apartment, and they just came in flying with guns drawn. She feared officers might mistake a shiny metal object in her hand for something dangerous. Police warned cameras capture her effort to make sure that they knew what she was holding. "I have a spoon in my hand," she said. Tate also was terrified when she saw guns pointed at her two daughters. Her oldest was crying and holding her baby sister. That too was caught on the police body cameras too. Also on video, you can see Tate's teenage son placed on the ground. His hands were put in handcuffs and a rifle was pointed at his head. He can be heard repeatedly asking, "What's going on?" Tate cries when thinking about the treatment of her son and the fear of that bad raid. Police body camera footage is crucial in understanding what really goes on during these raids. It reveals what happens to innocent people as police are once again caught on their own cameras raiding another wrong home. The suspect named in the warrant did not live at the home. "We were both handcuffed for about an hour," said Tate, who can be seen on the body camera wincing in pain while handcuffed and repeatedly saying the handcuffs hurt. But not everything that happened during the raid of the family was caught on police cameras, because a Chicago police sergeant gave an order to his team. Sergeant Anthony Bruno was caught on the same body camera saying, "Kill the cameras." Bruno gave the kill the camera order after recording only 2.5 minutes of the raid inside the house. It appears to be a complete violation of Chicago Police Department's body camera policy. Policy cannot be more clear. They had to have their cameras on during these raids. Just 4 months earlier, Bruno and a team of his officers were caught doing the same thing during another wrong raid. 3 innocent children had guns pointing at them as they were forced to the ground. Body camera footage shows one of the siblings face down on the floor crying, "Please don't shoot me, please." After terrifying that 14-year-old, her 7-year-old brother, and 11-year-old sister, police interrogated them without a parent present. One officer can be heard on a body camera saying, "Just tell us, do you know where the stuff is at? Because if you tell us that, then we'll be out of here." The children said this interrogation continued, but that was not caught on the body camera. Just minutes into the raid, Sergeant Bruno can be heard on camera giving the same kill the camera order. So it's like, hey man, these guys are out of control, and this is what's going on. This is what's going on nationwide. This just happened to be happening in the city of Chicago, where they're all the time talking about people getting shot and stuff like that, and all the time these murders are going on in Chicago. You cannot say that 100% of the time these murders are black on black crime. You got other nationalities of people that are coming into the city killing these kids, and they're going so far now as to somebody comes and says, "Well, you can't afford to pay for the funeral, so therefore we'll give you a free cremation. However, you must sign this document releasing the internal body parts over to them in exchange for a free funeral." So they're harvesting body parts of these young kids and these so-called gangbangers, and they're making money off of the death of these young kids. So, oh boy, this is gross, and it's gruesome, and it's a real sad state of affairs that we're in today. And thanks to the DC dunce and all his stupid policies and all those draconian laws that Jeff Sessions put back into effect before he left, because he took all the laws that Obama had tried to get rid of, like a person going to jail for 5 years for one rock of cocaine. Hey, all this stuff, all these things are basically back. They're back, and they're happening all over again. So, hey, wake up, people, wake up. Anyway, it's a rainy day outside, so
take a look out the window, see what's happening.
Yep. rainy day,
Hey
baby.
man, it's raining.
It's raining outside.
Raining outside, man.
Peace.